This is our real thoughts on Exorcist 2. One of the most bizarre sequels that somehow is boring.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that.
It's a... I'll give the director this. He had some balls to do some of these. Yeah, I mean, he fucking dangled Linda Blair on the edge of a building. There was no net or anything. She lived. Yeah, okay, all right. I mean, it's that guy has done some really like kind of daring, bizarre, risque stuff. I mean, it's
including directing Exorcist 2.
Yes,
which William Friedkin, by the way, apparently still has not seen.
That's probably for the best.
Mm-hmm.
You know anytime our mom would leave, like go out of town for something, our dad would always sneak in these scary movies when we were younger. You know, like, hey, here's Aliens, you know, and stuff like that. Here's Terminator.
Mom's going to be watching now.
Son of a bitch! Oh, she knew. But he would show us Exorcist, and I remember I wasn't quite as drawn in. It's like, wow, that's the scariest movie ever. But I did know, I'm like, this is scary. Like, this is good.
I always thought the first half of The Exorcist when I was younger was scarier than the second half, actually. All that build-up is great. And then in the end, like...
See, now I'm the opposite. I actually thought the second half when I was younger was scary, and now watching it again, the first half is scarier.
I guess, like, I was a little older and I just could kind of see through some of the effects. And I was kind of always aware, at least to a certain degree, they were effects. Whereas the first part was more atmosphere and, you know...
No, I mean, in my opinion, the scariest scene in that movie is just when he goes in to the room. And again, it is that build-up. Like, Damien goes into the room, you cut to something else, but you just see the door open and nothing is totally quiet. And then you see him just looking. You don't know what he's looking at. And then you just see, like... If you're to see it on its own, it wouldn't be, like, the scariest thing, but just the build-up to it, and it's the mother on the bed just glowing with these dark eyes. I'm just like... That was fucking scary.
Your mother's in
and that was not like a boo or anything like that. I was just like, that was scary. You know,
well,
like,
a lot of it's the build-up. Like, the funny thing is, the foggy night, the tubular bells, when Father Marin shows up, walking up the stairs, there's something terrifying just about that door.
Yeah.
I mean, you nailed it. Like, you just know, and it's always cold in there, and there's just something evil in that, like...
Well, you brought up a great...
And when they get in, it's still good. I think it's a good movie, but it just kind of, like... It's almost like Jaws. Like, when you finally see the shark, it can never quite live up to the expectation of seeing those, like swimmers, like, getting pulled down earlier, seeing the remains and the body parts, and it's like, when, you know, what's-his-face gets eaten by the shark at the end, and it's like the robo-shark, like, it just can't compare somehow. Like, your imagination, like, made it way creepier.
Well, you brought up a great point when they did the re-release, which I'm not against. You know, they put in new scenes and stuff like that and a few new effects. I didn't mind because I thought I sort of added a new energy to it, a new spirit to it. You can still watch the original, so I think it's fine. But you brought up this really great point. This one scene that got everyone screaming, "Wah!" is when she's going backwards down the stairs, and everyone jumped. They're like, "Wah!"
I laughed.
Well, no. And I mean, to me, it's like when I first saw it, again, the power of the atmosphere and everything, it had that effect too, and it put me in this uncomfortable state because I didn't know what the hell they were going to do, and they did do a few extra things. But yeah, A, watching it now, it's kind of funny when you take it, when you take the atmosphere out, and B, you said, you know, I didn't like that because everything seemed to be in that room. You don't want to go in that room, and that door is kept closed because all the evil is in there. And you took her out of there, and I thought that was a great point.
She only has a few scenes outside of the room in kind of quasi-possessed mode when she tells the astronaut, you're going to die
when, like,
up there.
Shit's getting real, all this stuff happens in that room. I thought it was a great point.
And so she comes out of the room
doing this really extreme, crazy thing.
Yeah, and I also thought from a pacing standpoint that, like, the idea is, even though it didn't always work, because it's such a great build-up that you can't quite get the delivery you would want, just like Jaws. To me, it would be like seeing the entire shark, like, full shark, everything, just this big scene. At the end, at the halfway point. So then when you see it later, you're going, well, we already saw that. Like, it was kind of a pacing giveaway.
Yeah.
Like, so I didn't like that scene. There were other little things added that I thought were cute, but...
Yeah. And we have the original, so it's fine. So then bottom line, that we got some...
That's a great movie. We like the movie.
So then the sequel was coming out, and I was kind of excited for it, because I was like, man, that first Exorcist, that kind of, like... That was a legit scary film, and I just do not see legit scary films.
The sequel wasn't coming out. The sequel had
No. I'm sorry. Like, Dad is showing us Exorcist 2.
He had rented it, got
and he kind of didn't... I don't think he remembered I don't know if he saw it or remembered it or whatever.
He
so
remembered it
on.
because he thought it was hilarious.
So he kind of showed it to us, and but he didn't tell us that. We were kind of like excited to see what it was going to be. And I remember the atmosphere. At first, when I was younger, I thought the atmosphere was kind of there, like it was building up this weird, surreal, uncomfortable atmosphere, which I liked, but never delivered on the scares. And then when I got and the climax, even back then, I remember the climax being really stupid. And then when I got older, watching it again, I'm like, oh man,
no, he loves Pazuzus right now.
No, and then watching it again, I'm like, oh man, does this not work? Like this really does not work.
It was a weird. Well, there's two movies. It's two movies in one, which I'm told I have not seen any post Exorcist 3. Was not interested, still am not. But I'm told that one of the ones that went into Father Merrin's back history, it's kind of like Exorcist 2, like they go into the possessions in Africa, and that's part of the problem is there's two separate competing movies. One is this detective story, like trying to figure out Father Merrin's past and going back into that. And the other is like this kind of just sequel to The Exorcist with Linda Blair's in it, and the demon's coming back, and
they're in the room again. There's the devil makeup, whatever. Yeah,
it just didn't gel. It's really, I think, part of the problem is, and it sounds weird sometimes when people say this, but it is a case of trying way too hard. Like there was so much shit going on in this movie that I'm like, had you condensed one of these plots down and separated them and just picked one story, you may have been able to get away with some of this, but like there's so much, and then the pseudoscience of like the flashing lights and the
and that could have been really
Linda
effective.
Blair with the stairs.
That there was something I almost liked about like if the demon or somebody was stopping the heart. You could kind of see the hand, and then somebody else was going to try and bring it back. I kind of like that slowness. Like you really sort of like you could feel almost somebody was actually going to die there, and they saved the person's life through this slow method. But then it goes a little too literal when you see all of the demon there, all of the demon holding the heart. How creepy would it be? You just see like a hand or sorry, just a little bit of an outline of a hand there.
Well, that's part of the problem. The movie didn't know
showed too much.
I don't think Borman knew exactly what he wanted to say with the I think he had all these ideas and he couldn't quite focus because
that's actually a lot of his movies.
There's the scientific aspect of it, and I'm like, well, this is kind of interesting with the hypnosis, and I actually kind of liked that.
I kind of like that too.
Then you have
there's way too much of it.
But then you have this weird giveaway of but then you see the demon reaching out, and I'm like, okay, so this is a horror film again, but with this weird scientific aspect, and then by the end of it, it goes full-on crazy-ass horror movie.
I mean, how much more creepy would it be if you were doing that hypnotism thing, and you just heard the sounds or you saw a little image? I mean, the scariest thing that everyone fucking remembers from the first film is that one scary face that's on screen, not even for a second during the dream sequence, and everyone takes that face, everybody reposts it, everybody makes t-shirts, everybody remembers that face because it was just a snippet. And how great would it have been if they incorporated that same kind of usage in those hypnotism scenes?
Yeah, I don't know. The weird thing is, I will say this, it is a fascinating train wreck. It's a Borman film, so even his bad films, it's like, well, they're interesting. They're at least interesting in how they fail.
But it's so weird because it's not like... It's both so weird and interesting and boring as hell at the same time.
That's the funny thing. Like, the cinematography half the time is legitimately insanely good. It's like a Kubrick film, and then I'm just like, man, I'm so uninterested in what's going on. Like,
that guy, who'd they get to play the priest again?
Richard Burton.
Oh,
stumbling around drunk.
That's right, and he was drunk.
I think he was drunk on set, literally just stumbling around.
So boring. Cannot hold this film. I mean, it's I'm saying at least. I mean, when James Earl Jones shows up, it's in the fucking whatever suit and everything. Oh. I mean, it's yes. I mean, he looks ridiculous, but it's it's James Earl Jones. He's gonna grab you. He's gonna get you because he's just such a fucking good actor.
Poor Linda Blair trying.
It's what can you do?
She's got nothing to work with, and that. I'm trying to think of her career if that was pre or post exploitation film Blair. Probably
I think it was after. Yeah,
probably maybe somewhere in the middle. I don't know because she may have started into that pretty. Yeah, it's just you can just tell this movie gave her nothing to cling on, and the next thing you know, it's going to be a prison escape movie. Like some women's prison film. Like, it's like you can see that she's got the dead stare in her eye, like, oh, I'm going to do women's prison films after this, aren't I? Like, it just... Oh, but yeah, it's like she's trying, but this script gives her nothing to do.
You know what it is? It was weird, but it forgot to be interesting.
Yeah. The ending, but the funny thing is, like, there are so many things in this film I love just from a what the fuck were you thinking? The flying Pazuzu shots. I love that. It's so ridiculous. The African boy flinging around. The fucking ending with her, like, doing the slingshot.
Like it's like the boy, I guess.
It's so silly.
Well, I remember, no, because I fell, when we first saw it, when we were younger, I fell asleep, and then I asked you how it ended, and you were just like, oh, shit. How do I even explain that?
He fell asleep. He's like, how'd the movie end? I'm like, oh, okay. There was the woman set on fire, then Richard Burton walks up, then it's Linda Blair's there as well, but then there's a possessed Pazuzu version, and she's like, no! And then the priest and the evil version, like, totally, like, make out, like, and, like, Linda Blair's like, ah! He's like, he loves Pazuzu's Reagan now, and then there's locusts, and the home rips apart.
And the floor falls out, and the bed falls and stuff, and it's like, you're saying all this crazy extreme stuff, I'm like, that doesn't sound scary at all. No, it wasn't.
I was like, no, but it was like, holy shit, what the hell just happened? It made the funny thing is it made the ending from Exorcist 3, which was equally insanely what the fuck, like, just look like a walk in the park.
Well, I remember when this movie came out, like, all the critics and stuff, because this is during the 70s, and John Borman was a very experimental and stuff, and I think people
and I like it, like, fucking Excalibur is one of my favorite fantasy movies
I love it,
of all time.
yeah. But so there's all these, so people were kind of like open to the weirdness, but they just didn't know what to think of it. And then when they really let it sit, they're like, yeah, this wasn't very good.
And it is such like late 70s kind of weirdness in this movie.
like all over it. Which again can be fun if you can do it interestingly. And it's just it's like I say, it's weird, but it's not interesting. And then we go into Exorcist 3, which is such a shame because that's
I will say before we move on.
Oh, okay, you really want to talk about this one?
Philosophically, there were interesting things going on in Exorcist 2, which is one of the reasons it pisses me off. It's kind of like the half-assed Star Wars films, like Revenge of the Sith, where you're just like, oh, there's like interesting things. I just wish it could have been perfect.
This could have worked if it was just a little.
Like, I like the idea of like, you know, the devil attacks these innocent kids, these healers, and the connection between her and the African boy would have been fine if you found a different way to shoot it without going like, loo, loo, loo. Yeah. Like, so there's, like, I thought those things were kind of interesting. Like, going to Africa, I thought it's like every single, the funny thing is when I think about it,
the story itself is actually not
every
that
single
bad,
thing I find interesting, and yet somehow the movie bores me. I don't get how that happens. But every time I think about it, it's like, that was interesting. That was an interesting idea. You could have done something with that. It's like, how's the movie? Terrible. I don't get what happened.
They forgot. Like I said, they forgot to make it interesting.
Yeah, I
Here's
guess
some cool ideas, but we forgot to put caring. We forgot to put passion. We got everyone just says their lines.
I think that's
so dead.
Well, Richard Burton definitely drags this film down. I think that's part of it too. Is there is like a procedural? It's almost like a crime procedural. Like we're watching CSI or something. It's just very. Well, CSI has more passion. Like it's just very passionless and by the book and by the numbers and. Now we have to do this, now we have to do this, and Linda Blair looking like a deer caught in the headlights, like...
What she kind of is with the hypnotizing.
Well, I mean, that's her character, and even then I just feel like... I get the feeling like she doesn't know what's going on either. Like, this is just a confusing setup. I get the feeling nobody on set knew how this was all connecting.
Yeah. It never really did. So then you get this third film, Exorcist 3, which I guess is kind of half and half with people, which I totally get.
I get why you wouldn't like it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's, like, really fucking good. But it's one of those movies where it's like, as a sequel to The Exorcist, I can see people being like, this is really kind of far-fetched and goofy and stuff and doesn't always add up or make sense.
Honestly, I thought it was more connected to The Exorcist than Exorcist 2.
No, that's what I was going to say, but as a sequel to Exorcist 2, like, fucking everybody is like, oh, hands down, this is so much better. Like, this is more what the Exorcist sequel should have been. But it's interesting because so many people did not go see it. Like, as far as I know, it didn't bomb or anything, but it was not like a big hit. And a lot of that was because, I mean, even William Peter Blatty, is that his name? The author?
Peter Blatty,
something like that. Yeah, like, he didn't want it to be called Exorcist 3. He's like, I want no connection to that last movie at all. And sure enough, a lot of people saw Exorcist 3.
It was a loose, yeah.
All right. Like, I don't want to see this. That last one was so bad.
He got into arguments, I think, because it was based on his book Legion, and it's a loose sequel. Like, much like Exorcist 3, the movie is. It feels like a loose sequel. Like, it's kind of a continuation. You wouldn't want to call it, like, The Exorcist 2, like, but his point was completely legit, which is, listen, this is a loose sequel, and the original, like, screenplay and everything apparently didn't have the ending that we got.
What, to 2 or 3?
To 3. Mm-hmm. Like, apparently, from what I'm told, like, the studio literally was like, you better put a motherfucking exorcism in this. I better see some demon shit and some... And
then call it Exorcist 3. I didn't want to call it Exorcist 3!
and call it Exorcist 3. And it makes total sense because this movie is going at a pretty good clip to something that is much closer to the original Exorcist and really good. And out of nowhere, like, it's almost a police procedural. Like, done better, though, than, like, Exorcist 2 was. Out of nowhere, this exorcism gets thrown in at the end. You're like, what the fuck? And this priest shows up. You're like, the fuck is this? Where the fuck did this guy come from?
No. He has like one line saying who he is, one scene of him going, something bad. And then he shows up at the end. He fucking
sees a dead bird and he's like, I am called. And like literally, and like you could literally tell, like you could almost see like William Peter Blatty just writing this like, and fuck you, studio. There's your exorcism. Like it is so little effort put in to try to justify this character's existence.
But you want to know what's so funny?
You can almost see him giving like, I'm sure he's a good Catholic writer, but you can almost see him just giving the studio the finger. There, you like that? Like it'll make no sense. No sense.
But. Well, and the funny thing is, though, I actually, that climax, even it gets a little goofy and everything, but it's like, I still really like that climax, even with The Exorcist in there. The atmosphere and the visuals are so good.
It only works because it's well directed.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Well, I remember when we saw it, and he shows up at the end, we're watching with our dad, who never saw it before, and he was just like, oh, so there is an exorcism in this movie. It's like, I know it's called Exorcist 3 for a reason, and it's like, yeah, I guess the author / director
I would have thought it would have been way
that.
cooler if he called it Legion. And he has the line about I am Legion.
Well, in the trailers, that's what it's called. It's called Exorcist 3 Legion. But then they never call it that in the movie. They just call it Exorcist 3.
But yeah, that movie's good. I mean, and as far as the other reason I don't think he wanted to call it this, Exorcist 2 sucked. Exorcist 2 was like, what, late 70s, maybe close to 1980, and this film came out, what, 91 maybe?
Yeah, you're 89
it was
like 91,
more than a decade later.
Yeah, it was a while.
I mean, that was like Blues Brothers 2000 bad when it came to the distance between the two movies.
But it's a good movie. Even if you don't like it, which is totally understandable, it is still worth checking out because there's new, different stuff done that a lot of horror films don't do.
Even if you watch the film and at the end of it you're like, this didn't make any sense, it was still quite a ride.
Yeah.
Like, it's a legitimately scary movie. The scene with the giant head-chopping clamper things.
No, I
still
love
to this
that
day,
scene.
and like the music they use there, like it's just oh god.
Yeah, no, it's a
one of the best build-ups and best jump scares you will see.
Yeah, I remember we actually rewound it because it just so
it went so fast, and we just like,
holy shit, what was that? What was that? I mean, it's like it was the reaction you want from a scary movie. And I love watching that scene with other people.
The murders in it, it's a great way to... The murders are always kind of described, and you only see little bits of it, like underneath the blanket or whatever they're covering the body with. And when they describe... I'm just like... Ugh, like, it's really legitimately creepy. It's like, holy fuck, it's like drained his whole blood supply and not a drop spilled. Like, they're these kind of like medical murders.
It is silly. It's silly, but it's done in such a way where it's like, I'm surprisingly
haunted.
This.
It's like really well done haunted house creepy. When you go to a haunted house and they give you the backstory and you're just thinking, like, ew.
You know, like, okay, well, this is stupid and this is just scary, dumb stuff, but you're like, oh, it's kind of have an effect on me.
George C. Scott.
One of my favorite actors.
One of his best performances, I think, is in this fucking movie. And then, what's his face?
His performance.
Damien. Why am I blanking? Is it Jason Miller?
Something like that. Something Miller.
Jason
Yeah. I always
yeah.
want to call him Arthur Miller.
back as Damien, and of course,
Brad
Brad Dourif.
Having the time of his life as this psycho.
He is like, I am surprised there was any set left. He chewed so much scenery.
Oh, it's amazing.
Oh my god, catatonics are so easy to possess. You were asking for an invitation to the dance. He isn't here with us, Lieutenant.
Oh, merciful me. Was I rambling? I mean, he's chewing it up, but it feels warranted. It feels earned. It just feels like, no, because he's a fucking nut, and he's insane, and there's all these people that are supposed to be inside him, and it's kind of like, yeah, no, okay, I'll take it. It's fun, it's creepy.
One of the
joy.
best Brad Dourif performances. Like, Child's Play is great, but I mean, this just blows it out of the water for me.
No,
anyway.
I mean, it's probably like his most fun performance in a movie. I mean, it's just so much fun.
And the funny thing is, it's one of those where I think William Peter Blatty, because he wrote and directed, could have restrained himself.
Yeah.
Much to the film's detriment. This is one of those rare cases where it's like, no, you need to go all out batshit insane, and that's what made this actually work.
It's definitely a movie
because we
directed
complain about hamminess so many times, but this time it worked.
It's definitely a movie that's directed by an author, because all the
It's
murders,
very
very talk heavy. A lot of the
very
murders are
talky
not
movie.
seen; they're talked about, and that's something. Words are their strength, so they use words to explain stuff. But it is not devoid of some great visuals and some good scares and good atmosphere. I mean, it's all.
Oh, it's got
there.
fantastic visuals and fantastic scares.
Yeah, it just takes a while to kind of get to
So
it.
it is a very talky movie, though.
Yeah.
And I don't
But the
believe
talking
that.
is funny, and I love these characters.
I don't believe that the author is always right, because I know he and Friedkin had this huge argument about the first film.
Yeah.
And on the ending and the way it noted on the ending, and I
agree with Friedkin.
The new cut they came out with the special effects ad, it had the original ending that Friedkin cut that Blatty liked better, and I'm just like, no, Friedkin was right.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't ruin anything, but it's like, what's the point of that?
It didn't wreck the movie for me, but it ended it on a note that I'm like, that was
Like, the hell was that?
the weird thing is the only way it works is as a setup for
Exorcist
Exorcist
3.
3. But it does that to Exorcist 3's benefit, but to the Exorcist's detriment.
Yeah.
And in that case, I would say let the first movie be saved more than the sequel. But yeah, because it sets up what would be George C. Scott's character.
Yeah.
And his love of movies, and it's also they're movie lovers too, which I also like. The priests do have a favorite movie, The Fly.
I love that priest. Yeah, what do you know about exorcism? Who cares? I love that. It showed priests as real people too. That's what I like.
That's what I like
They're
about
always
The Exorcist,
the worst people
too.
on earth are the greatest people on earth, and these were just people.
They're either saints, or like Hollywood treats priests in two ways. They are either saints or monsters. And I'm like, what I love about The Exorcist and Exorcist 3 is like, they're normal guys. Some of them drink, some of them smoke, some of them are kind of nice, some of them are kind of jerks, some of them, it's like, it runs the whole gamut.
Yeah, no, and
like they're real honest to God people.
You know, our parents, they played in a lot of churches, it's at the house. My dad was in the Navy, but they also did stuff at churches. My mom could sing, and he orchestrated music and piano. So they both orchestrated the music. And so we've known a lot of priests. And like The Exorcist 1 and 2, or 1 and 3, not 2, I felt like these are real priests.
I felt like I could identify
like
with their version of priests more than other movies I've seen where I'm just like, okay, who is that saintly? Or, oh my God.
Who's this monster? Yeah, I mean, it's always one of those things. So,
and there are some monsters out there. I'm not saying
definitely.
that.
And
I'm just saying it's
there.
either one or the other always in a movie, and I'm like, can't you have someone in
Yeah. So, there you go. There's our totally slandering
See the first
Exorcist
one,
2 and our
see the
praising of
third
3.
one.
Yeah.
You
2.
could probably sleep through the second one. We did.
Yeah. You'll have some interesting dreams. C2 just if you're super curious, which I can understand if you are, but I mean,
in some ways it's a guilty. If it were shorter, it honestly would be a great guilty pleasure for me. But it's too long.
Yeah,
it's more if it's on TV. I will occasionally AMC or something.
I still watch it just to remind me what happened in it.
If it's on TV, I will actually flip back to it occasionally, but I won't watch it the whole way through.
Yeah,
and I'll try to flip back to catch the things I like and no, he likes Pazuzu's Reagan now.
So yeah, there it is. More Nostalgia Ween reviews are on the way, and we shall see you later.
Yes.